Good morning, Royal We Fellowship, Shabbat Shalom, and happy Saturday to you. Today we are going to be in Leviticus chapter 6 as we continue on in our journey of learning about how God wants us to react, to live, and to navigate our lives in a world that is very narcissistic, and that especially in the world that we live in today. Amen. What's interesting is we are continuing on in our journey as we're discovering that the world is not just narcissistic today. Societies are just not narcissistic today. This has been a problem since the beginning of time, obviously, right? The issues that you and I face are not new. The issues that you and I face have been issues since, I would say, according to the Bible, the Lord had banished Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden prior to that even, right? And we see Cain and his brother Abel and what came of that. And so ever since that moment and ever since that beginning, according to the ancient message that we're given in the Bible, it's been story after story of God navigating people through a very broken, lost, narcissistic world where we do need to be careful because people are in fact inherently selfish out there in a lot of ways. And we are to learn how we are to respond and how to live and how to hold ourselves accountable and also be able to hold boundaries. Now, we're going to be talking about boundaries on the Royal We, on the regular channel this next week. In addition to that, we're going to be talking about boundaries in the brand new Royal We New Life Coaching Program. So before I get involved with today's message, I do want to encourage all of you to get involved in the New Life Coaching Program. It's only $49. It's for the entire month, and it's teaching Monday through Friday, live teaching with me every day. We're getting deep into practical steps of getting through narcissistic abuse, moving on with our life. That's just why it's called New Life. And so I encourage you to try it for 1 month. Get in there for the month every day with me. I'll be sure to post the link down below. All right. And we are going to go ahead and move on with today's lesson. And we are in Leviticus chapter 6. Leviticus chapter 6. Now in Leviticus, we're getting a lot of interesting rules and laws that the Lord is giving his people to live by. And what's important to understand about these rules and about these laws is that everything that the Lord is commanding in these laws, and a lot of them sound very weird, and not weird, the laws don't sound weird, but the consequences to us sound strange. A lot of sacrifices, a lot of bringing animals and sacrificing them. And there's a very particular way in which God said you need to sacrifice this animal as a burnt offering. And you need to clean the organs, and you need to drain the blood. You need to splash the blood here. So it's very disciplined. And I believe as we look back at this, what we're really going to see is that God is instilling discipline within his people. And the reason this discipline is important is because really people do not strive to do good unless there's discipline involved. In other words, if people are left to their own devices, then they'll just continue doing what they do. If they know that there is a whole drawn out disciplined action that comes as a result of our actions, people are less likely to do it. In today's narcissistic culture, the reason why people selfishly hurt one another is because there's no real disciplined action, especially when you and I stay involved with narcissists, whether it's family members, whether it's friends, whether it's jobs. If we stay in these environments, then we're not setting any boundaries against these people, and it actually gives them permission to continue doing what it is they're doing. So what the Lord is doing in Leviticus is through discipline, he's causing these people to be required to do certain things so that they'll stop living in certain ways. Another thing to understand about these disciplined actions is that the Lord is not making up potential things that people do wrong. What the Lord is really addressing is the things that are inherent in human nature. This is what the Lord is saying. When the Lord wrote out the 10 Commandments, he's not saying I'm making these things up because you guys don't do these things. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. No. The Lord is saying these are things that you as humans, I've witnessed you all doing. I've seen it. And as a result of me seeing it, I'm now establishing rules and laws to protect you. So it's important to understand that as we continue on in Leviticus, what we're seeing are disciplined actions being imposed so that people stop doing what is in the human nature, that is the sinful nature. God is looking for people to be set apart from the ways in which this world operates. The Lord wants to separate you. The Lord wants to separate me from the ways in which the world operates. Everybody say that with me. Let's say it together. The Lord wants to separate us from the ways in which the world operates. And this, in fact, is a division of us from narcissism, from narcissists. It does require that we divide ourselves. We act differently. So what we see in Leviticus is the Lord instilling these instructions, these disciplines, and these consequences in order to separate people from the ways in which the world operates. So let's go ahead and dive right in to Leviticus chapter 6. You can read along with me. Verse 1, the Lord said to Moses, if anyone sins and is unfaithful to the Lord by deceiving a neighbor about something entrusted to them or left in their care, or about something stolen. What's interesting here is that the Lord is saying this: if anyone sins and is unfaithful to the Lord by deceiving a neighbor. We see this in other places in the Bible as well. We see that when people have wronged other people, we see that the individual would say, why would I sin against the Lord? For example, we see this in the story of Joseph. When Joseph was approached by Potiphar's wife, Potiphar entrusted Joseph to watch over all of Egypt, right? This is prior to God taking his people out of Egypt. This is the story of Joseph, who was brought up to be the prince of Egypt, right? Rejected by his family, went through all that narcissistic abuse. He went through the devaluation. He went through the discard, if you will, from his brothers. They threw him in a pit. He was plucked up by the Egyptians, became a servant, a slave, but ultimately God elevated him to be second in command over all of Egypt. But one of the issues that Joseph was up against was Potiphar's wife. Potiphar was a commander in Egypt who Joseph was serving when Joseph was a young man. Potiphar's wife thought Joseph was pretty hot. And so Potiphar's wife desired to have sex with Joseph. Joseph's response was interesting. Joseph's response to Potiphar's wife was this: why would I do this thing that you want me to do with you and sin against the Lord? Now pay attention to that, right? Prior to him saying that, he did say, Joseph also said to Potiphar's wife, listen, Potiphar, your husband, entrusted me to his property. I've been trusted to watch over everything that belongs to him, because that was Joseph's job. Potiphar was Joseph's boss. Potiphar said, Joseph, you are in charge of my household. Keep it clean, keep it tight, right? So Joseph was telling Potiphar's wife, Potiphar has entrusted me with all of his belongings, all of his stuff. Why would I do this thing? Why would I have sex with you and sin against God? So we see this here again, Leviticus 6, verse 1 and 2. The Lord said to Moses, if anyone sins and is unfaithful to the Lord by deceiving a neighbor. So there's something about doing something behind another person's back that is deceiving to God. Joseph understood that if he were to have taken Potiphar's wife, or taking Potiphar's wife's, taking her proposal up, having sex with her behind Potiphar's back, Joseph understood, prior to this even being written, Joseph understood that that would be unfaithful to the Lord. That would be sinning against the Lord, because the Lord sees all of it. And if the Lord is going to put us in positions in this life and elevate us, then there's nothing that we are going to do that's going to be behind the Lord's back, even if we think we're doing it behind the backs of others. So even if we think we're doing it behind the backs of others and it's not hurting other people because they're not going to know, what we're really doing is being unfaithful to the Lord and to what the Lord is asking of us. Amen. So if anyone sins and is unfaithful to the Lord by deceiving a neighbor. So deceiving people is a sin against the Lord. This is important for you and I to understand. I'm going to repeat this again. Deceiving other people is a sin against the Lord. Deceiving a neighbor about something entrusted to them. Again, in that story of Joseph, Potiphar entrusted Joseph to his house. Potiphar entrusted Joseph to his household. So, had Joseph gone along with Potiphar's wife, he would have deceived. He would have deceived Potiphar. Okay? And that would have been unfaithful to the Lord. Or, it continues on, if they cheat their neighbor, or if you cheat your neighbor. All right? Or if they find lost property and lie about it. Finding lost property and lie about it. How many of you have imagined you coming across a briefcase that had $1 million in it? Let's be real. How many of you have thought about that and said, wow, well, that would be nice. Surely nobody would miss it, right? Well, listen, it's probably best to turn that briefcase in. Matter of fact, I think that there's been stories of people who have been arrested and stuff for not doing that. There's this attitude out there in this world of, well, finders keepers, right? Finders keepers, losers weepers. But what this is saying as far as the ancient instructions from God to the Hebrew people, if they find lost property and lie about it, right? This is being unfaithful to who? To the Lord. Okay? It's being deceptive. Or if they cheat, it doesn't have to be money, could be possessions. I was at the gym one time. This was when I was back in California. And my heart sank when I was working out. I was training, learning how to fight. My heart sank when I came off the mat and went over to the side where I had left my water bottle, my wallet, my shoes. And I remember walking to the side and I looked down and my wallet was gone. And I'll never forget the sinking sensation in my heart. And I didn't have very much money in there. I think I had a few bucks. That wasn't it. But my identity, my license, my cards, everything that I thought, that those were the first things that came to my mind. Oh my gosh, my address, my life, my cards, everything is in there. My heart sank. And so fortunately, I was able to go to the front room of that gym and they had cameras. And so together we all sat down and we watched the camera footage for the past hour. Fortunately for me, they were recording. They record every day there. And sure enough, we saw the person walk by and pick it up. And we knew exactly who it was. And so me and the other guys that worked there, the manager of the place, we approached the person. And we came across this issue and we said, hey, did you take a wallet? I don't think we were certain how to approach it. We didn't want to come out and say, we just busted you on camera. You took it, handed it over. We said, hey, did you take that? And right away, the guy said, no, don't know what you're talking about. And so we stood there and then fortunately for us, because we weren't sure how to respond, this guy was pretty big and I don't think the managers wanted a fight or anything to break out in the gym. And fortunately, the guy's friend came over and said, well, wait, what's going on here? And without even asking us, he looked at his friend, looked at us, and he grabbed his friend. He said, hang on a second. He walked away and he came back. And it was that guy's friend that handed me the wallet. But I'll never forget, before he walked away, I told the guy, I said, listen, I just want my cards back. I just want my ID back. I just want my cards back. That's really, please. And I asked him nicely. Anyways, his friend took them back and came back, handed me the wallet, and it was his friend that apologized and said, we're sorry, we're working on some issues and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, hey, thank you. Listen, thanks for giving it back. That was courageous to give it back. All right. So I wanted to encourage the act of giving something back that didn't belong to him. But it was a heart-sinking moment. Okay. And so this is important to understand, that the Lord it's a sin against the Lord when something is entrusted to them or left in their care, or about something being stolen or cheating their neighbor, or if they find lost property and lie about it. Okay? So these are important things to understand. It's easy to want to just take something that doesn't belong to you, apparently. I'm looking back and to try to imagine if I ever did that in my life. Maybe I did when I was younger. I don't recall. I don't believe so. But it happens, and it's a sin against the Lord. Or if they swear falsely about any such sin that people may commit. Or if they swear falsely about any such sin that people may commit. Swearing falsely about a sin. What is swearing falsely? Swearing falsely would be, no, I know that didn't happen, when in fact you know that it did. When I dealt with the narcissistic abuse in the family dynamics of the in-laws, one of the things that hurt me so bad as I look back at the situation was it wasn't just about the verbal assaults and attacks that I was receiving from the half brothers and sisters that I was dealing with, or the in-laws that I was dealing with. It was the others who were witnessing it, and then who I would go to and say, listen, I don't know how to deal with this. I can't. And they would shrug it off and say, we don't know what you're talking about, Kevin. I believe that was the most painful part. As I look back at the situation with the in-laws, with that narcissistic abuse, had it only been the name calling and the criticalness and this and that, and if I had other people to go to within the family and say, do you see what's going on here? This isn't right. If they would have said, yeah, we do see it, and it's not right. Kevin, please just be patient with them. They're struggling. They're having a hard time, whatever. I believe there would have been a different outcome, because it would have shown me that there were people who witnessed it in truth and who acknowledged it in truth and let me know, hey, we see what's going on. How many of you can relate to that? How many of you experienced narcissistic abuse within family? And it was one thing to be called names by this person, and it would have been okay. Not okay, but it would have been tolerable if you would have had somebody there with you who witnessed it saying, hey, I saw that. That wasn't cool. But they didn't. Maybe they ignored it. Maybe they denied it. That is the most heart-sinking feeling. As I look back at the abuse that I dealt with the in-laws, that was the most heart-sinking thing for me, is that I felt like I had nowhere to go. The people who saw it, the people who should know that it was wrong, was lying about it. That's what I've experienced. And this here is what the Lord is saying. If they swear falsely about any such sin that people may commit. All right. So that's a sin. And rightfully so. It's not always just the people who wrong you, but it's the people who witness somebody wronging you and swear that it didn't happen, or swear that you're making it up in your mind, or swear that it's not that bad. This is a problem. The Lord is saying that is a sin. Okay? When they sin in any of these ways and realize their guilt, they must return what they have stolen or taken by extortion, or what was entrusted to them, or the lost property they found, or whatever it was they swore falsely about. So what the Lord is saying here is that when they realize it, they need to give back. They need to return the items that were stolen. They need to come forward and say, I did see it and it was wrong. You need to be able to come forward and be honest and upfront. So what we see the Lord saying right away is, listen, when you do something wrong, you need to step forward and own up to it. That's the first thing. When they sin in any of these ways and realize their guilt, they must return what they have stolen, or whatever was swore falsely about. You must be able to acknowledge that. They must also make restitution in full, add a fifth of the value to it, and give it all to the owner. On that day, they present their guilt offering. So for any items that's stolen, what the Lord is saying here is that not only do you return the item that was stolen, but also you must make restitution for it. Add a fifth of the value to it and give it all to the owner. A fifth. I don't know what the calculation of a fifth is, but it's saying not only give it back, but add to it. Now, what's interesting here is that it doesn't, how do you give a fifth if it's a lie? How do you give a fifth if it's something that, witnessing something? Well, I would say a fifth would be to not only say, listen, this was wrong, this shouldn't have been said, I witnessed this and I didn't say anything, but a fifth in that situation would also be just adding to it. Listen, we'll make sure we'll make sure we never do it again. I'll make sure I stand up. I'll make sure that if I witness this again, we'll correct it in the moment. This is adding the extra. The point here is that the Lord is saying, listen, sometimes it's not enough. It's not going to be enough if you do something, if you steal, or if you say something, or if you witness something. If you do something wrong, it's not enough just to go and give it back. You have to also add that little bit extra. You have to also be able to say, this is what I'm going to do to make sure it never happens again. That would be a fifth. At least that's what I would say. That's what I believe. It's about doing extra when you're in the place of needing to make up for something. It's not enough just to go forward and say, well, let me just give it back. You have to figure out what adding a fifth means. What's the little extra? All right. And again, this is to separate God's people from the world of narcissists. Obviously, narcissists would never do anything like this. They would never even apologize, let alone giving a fifth, right? And as a penalty, they must bring to the priest, that is, to the Lord, their guilt offering, a ram from the flock, one without defect, and of the proper value. In this way, the priest will make atonement for them before the Lord, and they will be forgiven for any of the things they did that made them guilty. So we'll go ahead right there because we're going into the burnt offerings, and we've talked a lot about burnt offerings, but what I really wanted to focus on was just that first part of Leviticus 6, because what we're starting to see is the heart of the Lord, and we're starting to see the heart of God's instructions on how we are to live this life. And you can already see the discipline that's involved that separates people from narcissists. You see, narcissistic people and a narcissistic culture and a narcissistic society says don't apologize for anything. A narcissistic culture, a narcissistic society says do what you want, yell what you want, curse people, call people names, wrong people, and they call that somehow good. And this is the society and this is the culture that you and I have been exposed to in a lot of ways. Over the past few years, we've all been lied to, right? A lot of people struggle with this with their families. Their families are liars. They witness horrible things. People don't stand up for them. Narcissistic parents, narcissistic family members, none of them are standing up in these situations to make sure everybody feels safe, everybody feels comfortable. This is an indication, first and foremost, that your family or these people that you're with do not honor God. They honor narcissism, that spirit of narcissism, which says do whatever you need to do to feel good, to feel strong, to feel powerful. That is the spirit of narcissism. That is not the spirit of God. What we see here in the ancient literature is God is saying, don't worry about feeling big and strong and powerful. God is leading his people saying, I will be your power. I delivered you from Egypt. I will lead your life. I will be your protector. You focus on these things, which is treat each other with this mutual respect. Honor each other and each other's property. Okay? And when you do these things, even if you do them in secret, then you're sinning against the Lord. And that is what you and I need to focus our lives on as a community as we go forward in this life. So I'm glad that we're able to read these things and we can see how the Lord takes these things very seriously. Things like lying or cheating behind people's back, right? or witnessing something wrong and not doing anything about it, these things are wrong. These things are wrong. Amen. So we'll wrap it up right there. And Shabbat Shalom. Again, thank you everybody for being here. I'm blessed by you being here. And I'm looking forward to being with you next Shabbat, next Saturday. And one more time, just for those of you who are new, who signed on a little bit later, I encourage each and every one of you who are here to get into the New Life Coaching Program, which is daily teachings Monday through Friday for about 30 minutes. And it's a live chat included. And it's deep into stuff that's not going to be on YouTube. So I'm heavily promoting it right now. And it's a great opportunity. It's a great class. Give it a try for 1 month as we're all moving forward and we're learning how to navigate our lives through this world of narcissism. So the program is called New Life Coaching. And again, it's only $49 for an entire month. And so I really encourage each and every one of you to get into this class. I will put a link down below for you to get into this New Life Coaching Program. And other than that, I will see you next Saturday, next Shabbat. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll be back next Saturday. Bye, everybody. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and post the link. I'm going to try to post the link here before I leave. For those of you, I'll post it in the chat section. If I can grab it here real quick. I should have already had it up, but I did not have it up. So let me see if I can find it real quick here. I can find the link. All right, here's the link. All right, so for those of you who are still here, here's the link for the New Life Coaching Program. I encourage you to at least explore the link. Link, New Life Coaching. There's the link for that. And you can go ahead and click on that link. I'll pin it to the top. And I should have included that at the very beginning. But for those of you who are still here, there's the link. Encourage you to hit that link, check it out, read it. And I encourage all of you to get involved in the New Life Coaching for 1 month. Give it a try. And I'll look forward to hopefully seeing all of you over there. And if not, I'll see you here next Saturday. Have a great rest of the weekend, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Blessings to you throughout the week, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.